And welcome back to State and Local. I'm Anne Marie Battistone. You're watching Norfolk Public Access. My guest today is another candidate, and that would be Mark Flaherty. He is running for re-election to the school committee, and he's currently also one of our constables. Oh, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, good. Now, you're still constable.
Yes.
But now you are you do most of your work different times during the day or at night or?
Usually after work and a little bit on the weekends. I can't do anything on Sunday by law. So,
is that right?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because that's what the state of Massachusetts says.
But what if somebody needs you?
It's still by law you can't serve papers on a Sunday.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Now, tell us here's a question I have about the schools. Sure. You know, a lot of people with the talk about these 40B projects that come in with all these people. I know over at the Kennedy, I was just talking to somebody about the fact that it was sort of built with a possibility to bring a wing in. Now, are they planning on doing that on one side?
There's several things that we've been looking at, including there was a draft or an idea for expanding the Freeman Kennedy. Everything is still under consideration. We got to, obviously, if we're going to do that, we got to get bids, everything like that. But we're looking at the possibility of what can we do, because we're anticipating, if things trend the way we think they are, a lot more kids entering the district.
Gee, what an expense.
I know, it is.
Now, so there's a possibility of expanding at Kennedy, but what about at Day? Is there a possibility of expanding over there as well?
I don't know if we're going to look too much into that. I mean, that school's been around for a while. It doesn't seem like it's been around for a while now for me, because I remember Miss Day as the principal of the elementary school when I went to school there.
Not that same building, of course.
No. It was the Freeman Centennial before they took.
Oh, right. So what was the Freeman Centennial? Was it K through?
It was K through 6.
And then they made. Oh, okay. Then they needed the other school.
And then they made HOD.
Of course, you don't know how much the different classes are going to swell, though, do you?
No. We got an idea. We had an independent study done, and they came out with some numbers on where they think we might be at, but everything is speculation, because they're saying, well, if a family moves in and they've got 3 kids, or this family moves over here and they got 2 kids, you never know for sure how many kids are going to be moving in right away, and then they project it out over time.
Well, I guess that's the attraction of the over 55.
Yeah.
That they would be. I mean, unless they had some grandchildren occasionally coming in and took up residence in town. So now tell me, what are the meetings like at the school board?
I enjoy it. We don't have a lot of public input like we did when I first started out. Which is kind of disappointing to me.
I remember once going to one myself. Now, how did that happen to change?
I don't know. I hope people didn't lose interest, because it is
an open meeting.
Yeah, they're always open meetings. Even the policy meetings and the budget meetings, they're all open meetings. Okay, so you can come in, you can sit in. If you come to a school committee meeting, we have a public comment portion where the public can say what they want to say to us. Now, it's not really a back and forth, because if it's not on the agenda, we can't discuss it at that point. But if people make good points, we can bring it up at a later meeting. My first few meetings, we were meeting at the town hall, and it seemed like we had an audience all the time.
I remember that.
Yeah. Now we don't have any. And it's kind of disappointing because
funny.
it's us talking to a camera and then people watching at home. And I get it that people are busy. People work, they have family stuff, But, I wish we had more public at the school committee meetings.
Now, so does the school committee mostly involve funding and policy?
We do funding with the budget. Last year was the first year I wasn't actually on the budget subcommittee. One of the other members wanted to take a turn at it. So for the first time in 6 years, I said, I was like, all right, if you want to do it, go for it. So when the budget came up at the last meeting, I was looking at it for the first time. Usually I'm there and I know everything that's coming out ahead of time. I do the policy committee. So right now we're in the process of reviewing pretty much the entire docket of policies that we have because laws change. So the laws might say, well, now you need to add this wording into here, or you got to change this to that. So then we have to go through and review all of the policies and change all those.
And anything that comes to mind that you might be able to talk about that you're familiar with?
One of the latest, well, not really latest, but one of the things that they did a while back is as far as discrimination goes, it used to just be
transgender, or
right. It used to be you couldn't discriminate against someone for sex, creed, religion. Now they add in gender identity and stuff like that, which I would think that would all be encompassed in it anyway. But we had to reword all of the policies that had that in there for that.
And what about the bathroom issue with the transgenders? What's the story with that?
That topic, I don't ever actually remember that coming up at the meetings, but I think under state law, you can't prohibit someone from using a bathroom of the gender that they identify as.
So have they taken one of the bathrooms and made them,
transgender or gender neutral?
In other words,
No, we don't have any gender neutral or transgender bathrooms that I'm aware of. I've been through the school. So it's in this day and age, it might not be a bad idea to just make bathrooms gender neutral in some areas. I don't think an elementary school necessarily would be the right place for that.
I don't think so.
But I've been to other places where there are gender neutral bathrooms, and for adults, it's fine. For the most part, because we're more mature. Hopefully, right. Although I will say there's a lot of children today that are more mature than some of the adults I run into. So, I'm open to ideas like that. It's just, I look at things as what do I feel is best for the environment. And in an elementary school, I don't know if a gender neutral bathroom would be a good idea.
Because otherwise they'd be running, going into the other bathrooms indiscriminately.
Right.
So that would amount to the same. Now, is there any kind of anything has ever been said to the teachers about how to refer to kids as far as, are memos issued to the teachers? I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you have, do you know if there are certain kids that the parents have said, look, this is the gender and I want so-and-so addressed this way? Have you any of that come across the desk?
I'm not aware of that, but what the teachers are instructed as far as that goes is is handled by the superintendent. We don't actually have really any oversight over the teachers. The most we handle as far as that goes is the teachers' contracts. So it's something we have oversight over the superintendent, and she has oversight over the principals and the teachers.
Right.
So that would be something I would have to ask her if there's any kind of memo like that been issued.
Now, what about buying textbooks and equipment and so forth? Do you all have the final say in terms of the I mean, is that submitted to you to take a look to the board to take a look at the prices and
right? Well, the teachers have the schools have a committee that reviews materials, and we have it set up on a schedule where they're reviewing materials at intervals, and then we decide whether or not we're going to upgrade that. They decide whether we're going to upgrade the materials or not, or what they think we should upgrade at, and then that's presented to the school committee, and then because we handled the budget, we vote on stuff like that, on the new curriculums based on the teacher and superintendent's recommendations.
Now, do you happen to know what the average teacher salary is in Norfolk at the elementary?
Not off the top of my head. That's all handled in the budget. I wasn't in the budget meetings this year. I know the placeholders, they usually hold it. We usually hold a teacher's position at about the average cost. So, but what that is off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure. It all depends on, there's a lot of steps and lane changes and.
Oh, true. So the employment, the teachers' employment issues go through the superintendent.
Right. The superintendent hires.
In terms of,
she hires the teachers. The superintendent disciplines any teachers if need be. The school committee just negotiates the contract and signs the contract.
And so a little while ago, you said there were some plans going across the board that had to be changed. What was it just related to transgender nomenclature?
The state changes laws all the time, and so then they just want policies worded a certain way for schools so that maybe it's easier for people to understand, or stuff that isn't necessarily relevant anymore, or stuff that's more relevant now than when the policy was created. For instance, it's, the town can change a policy that's been in place since, I think it was like 1912 or something like that, prohibiting electronic signing of warrants. So but
that didn't exist then, did it?
No.
Why would they?
I don't know.
Have even thought?
It was. We saw it in print one day, and it's like, so we asked the question, and it was like we were shocked. It's like they can change that.
Somebody must have made a mistake. I mean, 1912.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like we can't. Yeah, you can't. Like the school committee, we have papers that we have to sign, like school warrants for payroll and stuff. They can't email it to you to sign electronically on one of your devices and then email it back. We can email it to you, you can print it out, sign it with pen, scan it, and email it back. But if you sign it electronically, it's not valid.
But in 1912
and stuff, that didn't exist.
There was no. I mean, people were. Yeah. I mean, some people were still using gas lamps, weren't they?
I'm not too sure on what the year was, but it was like 19 teens. It was something like that. It was crazy. None of us believed that it was the case. We thought that it was a misprint. We thought that they flipped the number or something, but it got looked into and it was legit.
What a strange thing. Now, what committee are you on within the school committee now?
Now I still do the policy subcommittee, and I took over the legislative rep position when I gave up the budget subcommittee position because I wanted to do something else. And so periodically I email Sean and Richard Ross and find out what they have coming down the pipeline. I met with them a couple months ago down in Sean's office area.
Now, is there any policy regarding politics or, in other words, when I taught in Boston, there would be some teachers that would put up signs for one candidate, and a lot of people just looked the other way. Is there any policy on that? If they want to discuss like a campaign to give equal time, or
Putting up signs inside the political signs inside of the school,
like in the classroom,
is prohibited by policy, if I'm remembering that particular policy correctly. And it's something that I would be against anyway, because, I mean, if you're going to discuss a race with the students and a campaign or a political race, and you're going to discuss it evenly about both sides, I'm fine with that going on, because that's civics, that's politics, that's government, that's history, that's what's, I want the kids to learn about it. But if you're going to promote one ideology over another, then
but I think there's a lot of that going on in all of the schools now. I mean,
there's a lot of stuff on the news about stuff like that going on in
indoctrination.
Schools. Yeah. Fortunately, as far as I can tell, in our schools, we have really good teachers, really good staff members, and I don't really see that happening. I don't see the teachers, and I haven't heard about the teachers bringing their political views to bear to the students, which is a good thing, because your political views are your political views, mine are mine. I might discuss stuff and tell you what mine are, but I'm not going to try to force my views upon someone.
Do they have a foreign language teacher over there at either one of those schools?
We don't. We've wanted to get that back into the budget for years now, but it costs around $200,000 to run that program.
Really?
Yeah, and there's no foreign language program.
Why so much?
Because you have to have about two. You have to have at least 2 foreign language teachers. Then you have to have all the curriculum, all the testing material. And right now we haven't done it because we're trying to work with King Philip on it, because King Philip doesn't have a foreign language program at their middle school.
Oh, really?
Right. So if the kids go through elementary school, get out of 6th grade with a foreign language, go to middle school and don't have that, then they're going to lose some of it unless they keep it up on their own.
Right.
And a lot of people might not be able to afford to hire a private tutor for their kid for 2 years on a foreign language. So.
And do they teach civics?
Yes.
At the elementary, they do.
Yes.
Because I know that I think I'm going to say, well, I left teaching, thank you God, I left teaching in 2006, but I know at that time, and going back as long as I can remember, there were no civics taught in the high schools or the junior highs in Boston. And I would have thought it would be,
I don't know,
required by state law, but
I don't know if they call it civics necessarily anymore, but there is a program like that. Yeah, social studies, civics, government, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so
as far as I know, there is a program of that for that in the elementary schools.
Now, are there anything else going on that anything that people might not know about that you might be able to share with us that's coming up in terms of any new issues or any new projects or concerns? Or
right now we're still working on getting previously in the past, right before I got on the committee and right before that, the schools took budget cuts big time on what we could do, on the money that we would get. We're growing that back to replacing everything that we lost 6-7 years ago, but there's still plenty more that we want to put into the budget that we can't afford. We have tuition-free kindergarten now, and we don't get a grant for that anymore.
And what about the buses? How does that work? Do they have to pay anything if they're closer to school and they, or
we eliminated bus fees.
Oh, okay.
It used to be that if you lived a certain distance away, you didn't have to pay for the bus, but if you lived closer, you did.
Yeah.
But we managed to find a way of taking that into our budget, taking the school committee, the full-day kindergarten program into our budget so that we can help people in the town better because some people want to send their kids to full-day kindergarten but couldn't afford to because it was expensive.
How much was it?
Off the top, I don't remember. It was a couple years ago that we absorbed it in, and I don't remember what it was back then.
A few $100s? Or?
No, it was a few $1,000s.
Oh, was that right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Or something like that. It was expensive.
For the full day?
For the full day kindergarten. And, so by absorbing that in, now parents in town that wanted full day kindergarten but couldn't afford it can now get full day kindergarten.
And do they feed them there?
Yes.
So that would be an expense. Too.
I think even with kindergarten and preschool, the lunch program's the same. The kids have to pay for lunch unless they bring lunch.
Or they qualify for the free.
For the free.
I see them lined up to pick the kids up every day, and it's just kind of amazing to me that there's so many of them get picked up.
I know.
I mean, it's a long
It didn't seem like that when I was a kid. We all took the bus, or kids would walk home or ride their bikes.
Unless they're picking them up to take them somewhere, to take them sports and all those things they do, which again, when we were, certainly when I was coming up, there wasn't all those activities. There just wasn't.
No, we had them when I was in elementary school, but I didn't really play too much in sports until I got into high school.
You did football, didn't you?
Yes, I did football my freshman year at Track County.
Oh. So now you're going to go to the, on the 24th is the...
Candidates night.
Is the candidates night, so you're going to be going to that.
Yes.
And of course the election's May 1st.
Yes.
So you've had an interesting experience with these elections because of the way everything shook out. You were having an election every year except
for last year. Yeah. And I'm going to have another one next year.
For the constable.
For the constable.
Oh.
So.
Now, will you be putting signs out?
I'm not going to do signs this year for a couple reasons. One, signs are expensive and I can't afford them right now. And two, I've been on the committee for 6 years. People see me. People know me.
True.
And that's not to say that people always agree with me or that I always agree with everyone else. But I put my heart and my soul into this. I love this, and I work hard on it. And if I'm honored enough to get another term, I'm going to work just as hard, but the great thing is, usually the last 2 times I ran unopposed. It was myself and the other incumbent running, and no one challenged us. This year there's 2 challengers. There's 2 challengers and 2 seats, so there's 3 of us running. I like that people are getting involved because, for a while there were so many seats that were uncontested or there was nobody running for them. Yep. And now we've got 7 contested races in town this year?
Yep.
I don't remember seeing that.
And I don't know if there's 7 contested, but I know I'm interviewing about 7 people, and I remember last year. I mean, it depends on how many seats are up and all that. But I mean, I think I only had 2 people coming in here.
So I love the fact that people are getting out there and they're putting themselves out there and they're running and they're getting involved because that's what we need.
Yes, it's true. It's bad because then the same people stay in these and
so
they acquire a lot of control that way if it's always the same people.
So even if I don't win, I'm sure the school committee is still going to be in great hands. I would love to still continue on because there's so much more work that we have in front of us on the policy aspect of stuff that we need to review and stuff we need to fix. And, I'd love to continue on with that for another 3 years.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for coming on because I think we're about out of time.
All right.
So good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
And it was nice to see you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching State and Local. I'm Anne Marie Battistone. My guest was Mark Flaherty, who is running for his 3rd term on the school committee. And election is May 1st, and the NCL night for the candidates, I think, is the 24th
as far as I can recall.
April. So thank you for watching. I'm Anne Marie Battistone.